Hi guys, I've finished a couple more inserts, so I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough with you and show you how they turned out. Now this one is super old. I started it like well back when I first started doing traveler's notebooks, and it was just something that I did like in my lunch breaks or yeah, little snippets of time that I had. So I guess that's why it's taken me so long, and it's one of my favorite ones. So this is my ladies you should listen to insert, and it literally is just quotes and advice from women I admire. So I created this insert myself, so it is all yellow paper, just because I wanted something a little bit different, something a little bit cheery. And a lot of it is just stamps and simple embellishments, so just quotes that I really love. So this first one, and you'll see my stamping isn't brilliant throughout it. It's just, it was more about getting it down than anything else. And I mean, this might be the first insert ever where I've worked on the first page inside. So all I did for this one was just stamp out the quote, and I have handwritten who the quote was by on most of the pages. This one here, I had to stamp, I stamped this about 3 times to be honest. It's just some grid paper, which I thought would make it easier, even though it didn't. So I just stamped out the quote. This is another Kelly Stamp Alphas. I think it's Alpha Nut. And I just stamped it in a whole pile of colours. And this one I did add a tiny photo to, with a little bit of sort of die cuts, embellishing sort of stuff. And this one here is super simple too. These were just like some post-it notes that I cut out and stuck down onto the page. And again, I did my stamping on the grid paper. I mean, you can see when I'm not stamping on video, I do tend to get it a lot straighter because I can stick my head straight over top and make sure it's straight, and the grid paper did help. What you can't see is I totally misspelt struggle. And so I did, this time I did re-stamp the word on another piece of grid paper and stick it in over top. It's not perfectly lined up, but if you're not actually looking for it, then you can't see it. This might be one of my favorites, Brene Brown, and that huge, I think it's a Studio Calico Alpha. I just love it for these sorts of quote pages. It's just, that's one of my favorites too. And this one does have some little Nuvo drops on them. These ones haven't cracked or anything, and I did try to keep them quite small so that the notebook didn't get too bulky, and you can see it's not. It's like a really thin insert, so I'm really pleased with this one. Again, this became a bit of a theme. Actually, it's the same alpha stamp too, and on some grid paper, just because I guess this was when I started stamping out quotes like this, so I was practicing, so the grid paper did help. And this was just a whole pile of scraps that were actually already on my desk at the time, with just a few little die cuts added in. Again, so I think the Kelly stamps, alpha stamps, they're generally the perfect size for these traveler's notebooks, so they get used a lot. And this was a slightly longer quote. It wasn't going to be able to fit totally stamped in there, so I did just add the rest with my typewriter. Now these stamps are just their outline stamps, so the black is the stamping, and I just filled in the inside with a white gel pen just to make it stand out a bit more on the yellow paper. I think there is a process video for this one. So this was where I had sort of finished this insert, and I really only found it after we moved again, and so that was when I decided to finish this one off. And I think I might start another one, but maybe I'll use pink paper or something this time. And again, there's a process video for this one. Another mistake with the stamping. This time I didn't really have any way of fixing it. I just stamped over the top of it. And actually, you can read it. You can read the word. That's why I left it. It's, I think it's fine as it is. And another favorite. So I think florals, yellow and pink, and alpha stamping is definitely my favorite on this one. You can see I added the Nuvo drops again, and none of them are perfect. It's a bit of a shame. And this one here, I had shut the page before it was dry, so it transferred, and now it looks like a little eyeball. But never mind, that is the insert finished. This was actually the back inside cover, so I've actually finished this entire insert, and I just stuck down a piece from my Silver Linings kit onto the back, so that covered that up. So that is that insert all done. And this was my my very first pocket page notebook, so you can see it is very full, very chunky. I love this, and actually the last couple of spreads that I did, I really did burst the seams on it, so a couple of pages from the middle came loose, so I decided rather than risk them falling out, I just stitched through it with some embroidery thread just to keep it all together. So here's another one. I didn't start on the inside cover. This was my very first pocket page notebook page. It came just at the right time. It was a terrible time in my life, really, and so it was such a great hobby. So this one has just got some like little confetti pieces in it, and I did use my fuse tool to fuse the top, and it just hides some like semi-personal journaling there. So you won't be able to read it, but you can see I did actually journal a bit in here. Another page, this was all sort of digital stamps that I had printed out and cut out, and I stamped straight onto my photo and just added a bit of stitching and some washi tape just to give it a bit of dimension. And another page, and so this insert, and I learned very quickly not to do this, is on super thick watercolor paper, and I'm like 2 pockets in, so I learned very quickly, try to keep it as thin as possible. I love this page. I guess you see it a lot in my Tripless notebooks with the repeat stamping background. This one has a little flip up hidden journaling piece. Plus I just love the colours, and this just takes me back. So I mean, this must be maybe 8 or 9 months ago. So summer, it just, oh, I can't wait. I think there is a process video for this one as well. So again, just recording some difficult times and I'm glad I've got it down there just to remind myself that it was worth it. Oh, this one's cute too. This was a Studio Calico kit that came that day, and I loved these purple pieces, so I just had to use them immediately. Again, a lot of the pages in this notebook are quite personal, like little reminders to myself that I'm doing okay. Again, there's a process video for this one. Actually not that long ago, so what I was doing with this notebook was just skipping pages, just to make sure that when I wanted a pocket on a right, I wasn't forcing myself to use it on the left. Little Lily, do you want a bath? I like these diagonals. It sort of breaks the page up a lot of the time. I tend to do like a left and a right, so I quite like that this is just one cohesive spread with the paper going across it. This page is pretty self-explanatory. It was when I was trying to wrap my head around YouTube and why people decide to give something a thumbs down. This was a gorgeous kit from Brandy Kincaid and Feed Your Craft. So again, as soon as it came, I had to stamp out this page of unicorns. And this one here I just coloured in with some coloured pencils and added a photo and some little word stickers, and that was it done. So you can see this was the middle page. This was the one that kept popping out. So I decided to stitch through it. Probably because I made a few mistakes with this notebook. This was a page, there was a process video for this one, and I should not have used such thick card. It does make it really difficult to get it closed, and it was pulling off the centre. No process video for this one, just a page about my sister and I. Just grabbed a whole pile of Elle Studio little die cuts, filled up this page, and this is the pocket page, but I actually didn't stick it in the pocket, like I just stuck these little sprocket photos on top of the pocket. I didn't want to add any more sort of bulk to this page because it had this fringing in it, so I decided just to stick it straight to the pocket. A cute page that I still love. When I got my first pocket letter from my lovely friend Essie, I had to break it apart and use it in my notebook so I could keep it forever, and included some of the sequins that she gave me and the little die cut pieces and even the self-adhesive lace, which I love, just sticking out of the notebook. So pretty. Another page with a little bit of hidden journaling, just on a tag in one of these wee glassine envelopes I just stuck down there. Oh, and this becomes quite a theme. So again, with my repeat stamping and then a little bit of hidden journaling. I think there was a process video for this one as well. Another page of sequins, because the lovely Michelle from the Stamp Spot sent me the most beautiful sparkly parcel I've ever received in my entire life, so I had to stick as many of those in as I could. I couldn't be bothered pulling out my fuse tool, so I literally just taped the top shut with washi tape, so it's just folded over, and then rather than just having a strip at the top, I went all the way around the outside. And again, that just hides a little bit of journaling. And my last sort of spread, it's just a piece of printed vellum. I think that was a Studio Calico one, and I've just die cut a whole pile of hearts through it so you can see that there is something behind it, and had to end on a photo of my lovely little lily, and I just did my journaling straight onto the photo with a white gel pen. And so that's my first pocket page notebook I ever started, and I have finally finished it. So there you go, another 2 inserts done. There are a whole pile more sitting on my desk waiting to be finished, so I can't wait to show you all of those too. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!